Alrighty then. I believe we are live now. Yes. Good morning. I guess it's still morning here on the East Coast. So yeah, that was some election. Trump won. Still honestly can't believe it. I went to bed thinking they're gonna somehow find a way and he's gonna lose, and I was convinced. And I was convinced a lot by the polling. The almost all the polls had it as a dead heat, which it turned out not to be. In fact, he's the first Republican president since George Bush in his second term's election to actually win the popular vote. In fact, he won it by, last I checked, according to the Associated Press, he won that by, golly, a little over 2 million, 2.5 million votes. They're still counting some in some places, but I don't expect that number to really change all that much. It's going to be about that. So yeah, that was interesting. And now everyone's trying to figure out why. Well, how did he win? Why did people vote for this guy? Now, I voted for him. I like Trump. I think he's going to be a good president. He's done it once before, and I don't understand why the left was so terrified that he'd be president again. I mean, what did he do the first time? Oh, he lowered taxes and decreased unemployment, lowered inflation. I mean, the guy did a good job. And I wasn't all on the Trump train at first, especially during his first term. I was more, oh, well, he's there, and hope for the best. And that's all I really did. And, you hope for the best with every president, even with Biden. Although I feel like Biden voted for Trump just to spite his own party, which, if he had the wits about him, which maybe he had a lucid day when he voted, I don't know. But, yeah, if I was him, I would have voted for Trump just to spite everybody. In fact, I think a lot of people may have done that kind of vote, too. But anyway, why did he win? And I was thinking about this, and, he has, good policies and things, but when you look at the policies on their pages, as we've done before, they're not super crazy as they're written down. It's the perception of them that really matters. People didn't perceive Kamala Harris very well. They looked at her as some crazy lady. She had the laugh to match. If anyone was going to have an evil dictatorship laugh, you wouldn't have expected it to be Kamala Harris if you didn't know her, but she has the laugh, and I don't think I could have sat through 4 years of listening to that laugh. I'll be honest. And there are plenty of guys out there who know what I'm talking about when you find a girl who's a little bit crazy and you go, do I really want to deal with that forever? Yeah. So, why did he win? Kamala Harris let the world and the news tell you who she was. She never really explained who she was. Her failure to show up on Joe Rogan was the final nail in the coffin, although I think even if she did show up, and even if she did a good job on there, it wouldn't have mattered enough. People already had formed their opinions about her, and many have already voted. So they weren't going to just, suddenly win 2% more of the popular vote, which is what she needed. And needed a lot more than that in some states. So, I've come up with the reason. She told you, or let the world tell you who she was. Trump showed you who he was. When he would sit down in an interview, he would talk like a real person. He would ramble on about something that he's interested in, but he'd always, they call it the weave. He would start with a subject that he was asked about, and then work in what he wanted to talk about, and then he'd circle back to be polite to make sure that he got back to the question that he was asked, and in some cases wouldn't answer, which is well, a lot of people do that, but at least he would answer most questions. Kamala almost answered none, which also meant that if she doesn't answer the question, people had to form that opinion about her in their own mind. So you had to think, well, what is she for? And if you didn't hear it from her, you had to form it yourself. She didn't really show you what she was for. Trump had already shown you what he was going to do as president, so you already had a baseline. And he showed you who he was when he talked to people. He would sit down and have a conversation with you and go, well, this is what I like, this is what I'm for, and yeah, I'm actually for this, and no, I'm not for that. Kamala failed to do that. And I don't think she's capable of it. She never really was. The only time I've seen her really as herself is when she was pushing the woke agenda, as they call it. I really don't see why she thought she'd be a good president. She wasn't a good attorney general. I couldn't. I've looked into everything she's done, and I'm like, this lady. And I know why they did it. They had a lot of money in the Biden campaign. They had to pick her, and for a long time, I thought the Democrats were hoping she'd lose. Kind of like Man of State with Chris Rock. They picked her, hoping just to say, oh, we put another woman ahead. Yeah, the misogynist, they didn't want to vote for her. That's why we lost. And that's what they're telling themselves now, I'm sure. Yeah, that's not the case. I'm pretty sure if they would have run Tulsi Gabbard, Tulsi Gabbard would have given Donald Trump a run for his money. It would have been, for sure, a knife's edge election. She at least has ideas, information to back up her ideas, and is passionate about them. Kamala had no real passion. Trump was passionate about whatever he said. That's why you believed him when he said it. Even if Trump's lying to you, you couldn't tell. The man is passionate about it. She has no passion. She comes off as robotic, which is something that people say about me, which is kind of funny. I probably have more in common with her than I do with Trump. Actually, probably do. She's broke. Trump's rich, yeah. Well, I assume her campaign's broke. I don't know if she's personally broke, but yeah. You don't usually the losers of an election don't come out ahead with money. But hey, what do I know, right? I'm just some guy on the internet. I'm probably the only person live streaming on a Saturday. But I wanted to make a video. What do you think? Did you notice anything different about the two people there? That were both equally bad or were both equally good? Was one able to actually convey who they were better than the other? I mean, I have my opinion. What's yours? And that is the end. Okay.